Hello there and welcome once again to the Set of the Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers. We're here every week meeting interesting people and dealing with topical issues, and if it's summer, it must be baseball season.
Yeah, we're going to talk about baseball, and I love that because I love baseball. We're going to talk about the Oklahoma City Dodgers with Michael Byrnes, the general manager and president and general manager of the Oklahoma City Dodgers. We have had Mike on before, but not in his current position with the Dodgers. We want to find out how the ball team's doing, what they're doing, and what to expect.
It's an interesting season, as always. We're going to learn more about minor league baseball in the state of Oklahoma. The general manager of the Oklahoma City Dodgers is in studio today. We'll be right back.
I like the idea of improvisation and starting with not a preconceived idea. All of my work is about visual images taken from my memory. I'm Brenda Kingery. I am an artist and I'm a proud Chickasaw. One time I said, "Oh God, please don't let me die with my paintings in the closet." And what I would want them to be is everywhere. I would want them to be loved, to be used, to be respected. You work your whole life doing this. You just keep going as long as you can. And I have such a good background with a 106-year-old grandmother that I've always thought in my mind I would just paint till I'm 106. My Chickasaw heritage has become a primary part of my life. And the reason is, it's a place I call home.
See more stories about the Chickasaw people at profilesofanation.com.
Welcome back to the Set of the Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers, and Kent's going to introduce today's guest.
As we talked about in the opening segment, we're going to talk about baseball today with Michael Byrnes, the president and general manager of the Oklahoma City Dodgers. Mike did his undergraduate work at St. Mary's University. He was affiliated before he came to Oklahoma City with the Frisco, Texas Rough Riders and did very well in that position. He was hired to come to Oklahoma City and take over the Oklahoma City Redhawks and served in that capacity for a number of years. And then a couple of years ago, the Dodgers came to town and kept Michael on as president and general manager. Oklahoma Magazine has listed Michael in the top 40 under 40 category, which is quite a prestigious honor. He is making his third appearance here on The Verdict. We're going to find out all about the Oklahoma City Dodgers. Welcome.
Thank you. It's always great to be around baseball lovers.
Yeah.
Well, how's the season going?
Well, the team's actually been playing really well of late. They seemed like the start of the season they were kind of middling around a little bit, win a couple in a row, lose a couple in a row. But as of recently, pitching staff especially has really put it together, and so the team's playing well. We're in first place. We hope to maintain that position all the way into September.
I think people are interested in how one franchise picks a AAA city. Kind of give us some history on how this franchise became a Dodger franchise.
There's 30 major league teams, and so therefore 30 AAA teams, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio. And so Oklahoma City has had a long history of AAA baseball, and it has always been a great market in supporting baseball. So late in 2014, there was an ownership change, which led to the opportunity for the Los Angeles Dodgers to actually be involved in ownership, which in our business is actually not typical. Usually the major league team has an agreement with the minor league team to provide the players. But only in a few instances do they actually have ownership element with the team. So I think that says a lot for our standing in minor league baseball, that the Dodgers wanted to make an investment here, and they partnered up with some individuals that are the managing partners and give us great resources to maintain a great facility and put out a good product. So
what variables go into that decision making?
There's a couple sides. There's the baseball side and then the business side. From the baseball side, those that are decision makers on that side of the business want to make sure it's a great environment for their players to play in. Our job from the baseball side is to prepare the players for Major League Baseball. So they want to have them in an environment that the facility is top notch, which ours is, so they can certainly get their work in and become prepared. and they like having the opportunities for them to play in front of plenty of fans. These guys are going to graduate and go play for the Los Angeles Dodgers in front of 40 or 50,000 people, so they want them in a similar winning environment here. Our community and the support we have certainly makes an impact when the, organizations are looking at partnering with us. So I think those are some of the factors. From the business side, those that are making decisions there's some strategic reasons to be able to gain fans in this region, and I think that's certainly an important thing for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Their brand is so internationally known, and it's a really strong brand, so there's Dodgers fans everywhere. But it certainly doesn't hurt to stake your claim in a certain region and hope to develop more fans.
Well, Michael, it's to your credit and it's to the benefit of Oklahoma City that you were retained in your position. You previously were president and general manager of the Red Hawks. Just kind of a smooth transition into taking over the same ball club with the Dodgers. How have you found the transition? Has it been easy for you?
Well, it's thank you for sharing that, but it's been actually a fun and a challenging experience. To go through an ownership change is something that anyone that's a business operator, there's some unique things that come along with that. We coupled that with going through a rebrand at roughly the same time, so that accelerated some of the elements of going through that transition, understanding what are the principles of our business, how would they like us to run our business. And then, of course, when you go into a rebrand, it's just all the elements and impact that has. So, there was a lot in the air. We found our ownership is incredibly supportive. They've put resources behind our organization. There's a big belief in the people part of what we do, so we've been able to grow the staff, which has been great. This is my 6th season, so I think we've grown from about 32 people in 2011 to close to 50 now, full-time staff, which has been great. It lets our folks specialize. So, if you're in sales, you can focus on sales. If you're in entertainment or in operations, you're solely focused in those areas. So having those resources and most conversations end with a yes when it's having conversations with our ownership on here's our idea. And so we found them to be incredibly supportive. They're also providing great players on the field. We won the division last year, had one of our best records in the history of our franchise, and we continue to win this year. So that part's nice as well. That the baseball piece of this.
Yeah, that helps.
Yes.
I've always thought that people underestimate the complexity of the business. For instance, if a business runs 9 to 5 and it's an indoor environment, it's probably pretty easy to staff and operate and manage. But in baseball, what you need in July is a lot different than what you need in December. What you need when your team is in town is a lot different than what you need when your team is out of town. People probably don't work 9 to 5. I'm sure some do, but many people much work late into the night. A game might last forever.
That's right.
Technically, baseball's a timeless game. Some people are going to work outside on mowing the grass, and some people are going to have an indoor desk job, and just the complexities of trying to run and operate all that, and to keep your work staff enthused and inspired to come to work every day. That's just got to be a big job. How do you handle that aspect of it?
Well, and if I can add a couple extra layers to it, that's the
please
baseball
do.
side of it. And we have such a great venue, and the city has given us this asset to provide some quality of life elements for the city. So then we may also be looking at a winter festival in the December time frame. And so how do we transition people that are solely focused on baseball into operating a snow tubing hill or a haunted house at some point?
Your job interviews must be fascinating.
They are. They are. The interesting thing, this is my 14th season in minor league baseball. I think one of the most humorous questions I receive even today is, what do you guys do in the off season? Is it a full-time job? And so you did hit on a lot of the complexities of what we do. And there's, as I mentioned, close to 50 people that are in our full-time staff that are operating the business. But on any given game night, that customer service and part-time staff will expand to maybe close to 200 people. And those are the ones that provide the experience of a guest visiting the game. So the person that might have their own 9 to 5 job, they leave that job and then they become the face of the Dodgers as a ticket taker or an usher or someone in food service. So,
well, give me an example. How many of them are maybe part-time and have no interest in having a long-term career in Major League Baseball, but it's they need a few hours, and this seems to fill them. And then how many people are kind of dedicated to the industry and want to have a career in professional sports?
I would say of the 50 full-time, it's 100%. They want to have a long-term career in sports. You look at someone like our head groundskeeper that's actually been doing this for 20 seasons, and so certainly dedicated to what we do. We have some folks in our facilities and operations management that have been doing it a really long time. And then we have the opportunity to integrate young salespeople into our business and give them a platform to build a foundation for their career, and certainly provide opportunities for them to move on. That's coupled with someone that might be a customer service staff member of ours, and the interesting thing is some of those some folks make a profession out of that. So they work at the arena, for basketball season or other events, and then in the summer they're working with us, and so they do a great job of hitting a number of the different venues in town and being customer service staff members at all those different places.
And then some of the people that work the concessions actually are working for nonprofits. Can you explain that process?
That's true, yeah. So there's an organized approach to the concessions that nonprofit groups can put together, maybe the 12 necessary frontline staff members, and they'll take in a percent of the gross revenue from that night that goes towards their organization.
So if you're raising money for a school or Cub Scouts or something like that, you can have volunteers come in and work a concession stand and raise money for their organization while they're helping you out.
Exactly, and a great way to spend their summer. They're out at the ball game and getting that chance.
Is that model used almost universally?
I believe it is. Yeah, I've experienced it in a number of markets, and I know it's a strategy that many of the food and beverage operators will utilize. So it's an interesting way to look at it. And ironically, in my family, going back a number of years, my mother used to organize that for our high school to raise funds. And so I've been connected to it. It seems like, in this career, but even before my career, for a long, long time. The volunteerism aspect of that.
Let me get us to our first break. Michael Byrnes is the general manager of the Oklahoma City Dodgers. We'll have more with Michael when we get back on The Verdict.
Over 3 million firefighters around the world trust it'll do its job while they do theirs. Flame-resistant material, an invention made possible by components of oil and natural gas. Plentiful Oklahoma resources protect the brave and give our generation the power to bring countless innovations to life. Let's use them to benefit all humankind.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. Our guest is Michael Byrnes with the Oklahoma City Dodgers.
Michael, talk to our viewers about the team that's on the field this season. A few of the names, positions, prospects. What can you tell us?
Sure. The real talent so far this year has definitely been on the pitching mound. Our staff at this point is actually leading the league in strikeouts, and they're on pace to set a team record. A franchise record for the organization here in Oklahoma City. So that's been really positive.
Got some hard throwers, I guess.
There's a couple. There's a couple crafty guys. So there's a mix of everything. There's a young man, Brock Stewart, who was recently brought up. He's actually leading the minor leagues, he's in the top 10 in ERA and opponent's batting average, walks and hits per innings pitched. So there's a number of those elements that point to him being a star in the future. Was just recently moved up from Tulsa, where the AA team for the Dodgers is. So a short drive for a player to make it from AA to AAA. And then we have a couple great position players. We have an outfielder, Corey Brown, who's actually connected back to Oklahoma. He went to Oklahoma State. I think he's in Oklahoma's Sports Hall of Fame. And so he's been playing really well and offensively has really carried the team a number of nights. And then Rob Seguin, an infielder for us. He's played a couple different infield positions. He's got a career high already for home runs, which is a dozen at this point, but so he's been hitting the ball really well, and I think making the Los Angeles Dodgers have to make some hard decisions on, do we need to find a place for this guy in our lineup, which is the fun thing to see when players, especially those that maybe you didn't go into the season expecting to be producing as well as they are, start forcing decisions on the Major League club on, can we find a way for this guy to help produce in Los Angeles, and so that's been great. The top prospect is actually a pitcher. Jose De Leon, who has been limited in the number of innings he's been able to pitch with recovering from some shoulder injuries, but he is in the system for the Los Angeles Dodgers right now, the top pitching prospect, and to date he's basically striking out about 50% of the opponents. So there's a lot of strikeouts on his ledger for some of the.
And is he a closer?
He is a starting pitcher.
Wow.
Yeah. Now he's had limited innings.
And
but
what's his velocity? What?
He's in the mid-90s.
Okay.
He's one that I want to continue to watch the rest of the season, and he's going to start getting some more innings. He'll be a fun one.
Where do you stand in your in the league? Are we near the top, near the bottom, in the middle? Where
we are. So in the Pacific Coast League, which we're members of,
right.
There's 16 teams, and so there's 4 divisions.
Right.
Our division, we're actually in first place, so we're leading the league, and opponents in our division would be the Iowa Cubs, Omaha Storm Chasers, Colorado Springs, Sky Sox. So we play a lot of games within that range. We occasionally will go west and visit some of the teams in the Pacific division, but I think there's a chance that between the I-Cubs and Omaha seems they feed into the Kansas City Royals, so they seem to always have a lot of great talent and great prospects. They're at the bottom part of our division right now, but I expect them to be competitive when it's all said and done. So the interesting thing for our field staff, the manager and both hitting coach and pitching coach, is keeping this all together throughout a season when you have players coming and going. At this point, roughly in the middle of the season, we've had 133, 140 so transactions. So a player moving up from AA or a player going from here to Los Angeles and maybe coming back. Last year we actually had close to 350 total transactions. An average year for a AAA team is 150, so we were double that last year. They still won the division, and sometimes it's challenging to kind of latch on to a player because of that, because they're going to be moving up and down so much. But it does give us a chance to see a lot of talent come through, and hopefully see somebody that's going to be playing, on ESPN at some point in the major leagues.
You also share the stadium with others who aren't playing for the Dodgers AAA team, including some high school games that take place in the spring, and of course Big 12 championships. Kind of go through some of those opportunities.
Absolutely. The high school series we've done now for a number of years, and we have close to 30 high school baseball games. Majority of that lands in March. We had the state 6A championship, which was in May, and we'll have the fall championships again in October. But we have a program that allows schools to do a fundraising opportunity.
Yeah, so why do that? I mean, that's extra work for you and your staff. You're not exactly filling the stadiums when you bring in a couple of high schools, but so why do that?
So you must have been talking to our groundskeeper.
Well, that's amongst the issues. I mean, the groundskeepers are so protective, and here you are making a phone call to them and saying, hey, by the way, we're going to add 30 high school games to our schedule because.
Yeah. Well,
why do that?
It's a great opportunity to be connected to the world of baseball, and to high schools, in communities all across Oklahoma, and that's the part that I've found to be really interesting. The most responsive schools are actually coming from, many miles away, and so at times they'll come in town, they'll stay a night in Bricktown, they'll play their game on Saturday, and eat and spend some time at the entertainment venues. And so it's a great outing for them.
Right.
We've even seen some schools, the smaller schools, of course, they'll shut down for the day so that they can bus their students to come out and support their high schools. So it gives us a great way to be connected to student athletes and families all across the state. And I think that's part of our obligation in continuing to grow the game. Baseball, especially minor league baseball, is connected in every 160 communities across the country, and so we take that very seriously, and it's fun for us. And back to our groundskeeper, as long as we give him heads up and he knows how to prepare around it, he's been great, and he knows so many coaches across the state. Just having been in the industry for so long, he's actually introduced us to many of those opportunities. So. He's certainly an ally in that process.
More than any other sport, I think baseball lends itself to this intergenerational, fandom, and it's not unusual at all to see grandparents with grandkids and family members come. Explain, in a short pitch, to someone who's never really bothered to bring their family down to a ballpark because maybe they don't think they're the biggest baseball fan. Why would they come and enjoy themselves?
You touch on, I think, there's a nostalgic element to it, for sure. And I think of my own family here in the next couple weeks. My dad is going to be out there, and we'll bring my daughter, so grandfather and granddaughter, and some of my nieces and nephews will be there, and he loves that opportunity to make that connection. I see that almost every game night. Sometimes it's as specific as teaching how to score a game, and there's really some true passing on of knowledge, but there's other just elements of being able to get out, do a family outing, come down to Bricktown, and they may only watch a couple innings of the ball game, but between the playground and having a hot dog and kind of getting up and moving around, it's a great, safe, fun experience for families, and we market specifically to that. We know that there's not enough pure baseball fans to fill that ballpark 72 nights out of the year. There's a lot of games over the course of the summer, so. We want to be an entertainment destination for young families that are looking for something to do on a Friday or Saturday night, and we think that we've made a really good connection in the world of families. And baseball, I think, just has a long history of having that connection, and I'm glad we're able to continue to pass it on. Talk
to us a little bit about your sales academy. I read an article about it recently in a newspaper. It seemed like a very successful endeavor.
Yes.
Tell our viewers about that.
So our sales academy, we've over the years we've developed this as an opportunity, of course, to find new talent and integrate them into our sales team. But in the process, it's a great way for us to really interact with. In this year's instance, there were 25 folks that came out to the sales academy. It was a free opportunity that many of them traveled from, California, Florida. Rhode Island, Illinois, Indiana, and then a number of them locally as well. Oklahoma State has a great sports marketing program, and so we're able to be introduced to all these young folks that are trying to get into the sports business. And we focus on things like interview skills, resume building, but then also introduce them to our sales techniques and give them some of the foundational tools for them to be successful. Revenue generation in sports is one of the key things. So many folks will say that's how they got their start, and whether they're in my position or they're running an NBA team, they started in revenue. And so I think that's been something we've become passionate about over the years. Our senior vice president, Jenna, has really focused on that piece of our business and utilizing it as a platform for recruiting. So out of that 25, there's probably 5 or so that'll join our team, long term with us this year. We'll help place, maybe another 5 of those at other teams, just from relationships that we have that they're looking for young people as well to join their teams. So it's something that actually industry-wide a number of teams are starting to do. We've been doing it 6 years here locally in Oklahoma City. And longer than that in terms of my career. So it's a fun thing to be involved in.
Michael Byrnes is the general manager for the Oklahoma City Dodgers. Thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Good to see you, and good luck.
Great facilities in both Oklahoma City and Tulsa. It was great to get an update on minor league baseball in the state. Ken and I will have a final word after this.
There are now 11 million of us who live here and work here. I was 15 when I came here 6 years ago. I raised my family here. I drive my truck to my job every day. The only difference between now and 6 years ago, I do it legally. I wanted to. Because this is my home.
All children deserve a life of hope and love, but sometimes they experience a life of pain, neglect, and abuse.
When that happens, each child deserves all the quality assistance and representation that can be offered in our legal system. For more information, call 23-CHILD.
Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, helping to bring hope and love back to the lives of abused children.
You will always be Mom and Dad to me.
We are a very conservative family, and we believe in old-fashioned family values. We have a loving home there, and we love kids, and we have 5, 6 of our own. But I had no idea we were going to go into adoption, but it's been very gratifying.
You will always be Mom and Dad to me.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information. And for almost 30 years, Oklahoma political, government, and business leaders have turned to the McCarville Report for accurate, reliable, inside information. Visit the McCarville Report online.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. We are wrapping up the show with Michael Byrnes, the general manager of the Oklahoma City Dodgers.
Yeah, it was good for Michael to come give us the time, because I know this is obviously a busy time of year for him. The Dodgers just do a great job of treating the fan like a fan would like to be treated. Not all sports venues are like that way, and Michael imbues that into his salespeople, his ushers, his concession folks. They all treat you like a king. It's worth going out to the ballpark.
The citizens in both Oklahoma City and Tulsa have invested tax dollars to create incredible stadiums.
Yep.
Their citizens need to go out and enjoy these great facilities, because the operators are doing their part. Some website information. You can get more information about the AAA baseball at MILB.com. It's MILB.com. And of course, the Dodgers have their own website. And we have a website too, theverdict.tv. Love for you to see you. Go for The Verdict and tell us about a guest you'd like to see, or a subject matter that you'd like to see us discuss on a future show. And we'd love to do that for you. For Kent Myers, I'm Mick Cornett. We'll see you next time right here on The Verdict.